I've got a feeling a deja vu.
Yeah.
Everybody in on the joke. We tried this just over a week ago, wasn't it? And we neglected to press the record button. So here we are again. We'll have a second go.
It's definitely recording. I can see it on the top.
Yes, I am recording. Hey, okay. Hi, I'm Phil, founder of BeerHeadZ.
I'm David. I'm BeerHeadZ Development Manager.
And I'm Sue the brewer and sales and stuff. Yeah.
So how's life in lockdown for the business? How's the business coping?
Yeah, not so bad. When the announcement was first made back, whenever that was, a year ago, whatever, we took the decision to put Team Toxic on the back burner straight away, really. Maybe a bit of foresight, I don't know, but it seemed a sensible thing to do. So we put that on the back burner then. So we've not had the sort of concerns that some have had over this last, few months because of that, really. We did that with the thought behind it that we would just go off and do separate things, make sure we were earning money, bringing money in, so that no matter what happened, we knew that was safe, but we knew that the brand would stay safe as well. So so that's where we went really from the get-go. So it's been okay. I've been doing freelance stuff for people, and Gaz has been working for Liverpool Brewing, where the brewery's based anyway. So it's all worked out quite well, really, under the circumstances.
So you've got quite a little roster going now of freelancing stuff. Who are you actually working with now?
Well, I'm working with Tatton Brewery up in Cheshire. They also are aware that my beers get brewed now, and we've put them into can for the first time with them. So I'm doing some sales and marketing for them, mainly because they've got a new brand being launched this year, which is why I was asked to go and help out. So that's coming up. Well, who knows really with how this is all going, but that's coming up sometime this year. So doing a bit of sales and stuff for them. Also for Mourne Mountains in Northern Ireland, brilliant young brewery, fab, love them.
Just so happens I've got one on the go at the moment. The Decadent Days.
I have as well. I've got their.
There you go. Available from Beers UK
now. Seamless.
So yeah. Yeah, it was smooth. So doing some sales mainly for them. Their marketing's, they're brilliant at anyway, to be honest. And people taste the beers and they know they're fab, so it's just getting them out there, really. Yeah. And then some for MD Engineering, who make canning machines, huge ones, but also came into the market to do some really little canning machines, so that you and me, the more Joe Public type of brewer, can afford to actually get some canning done on site. So yeah, it's good fun. I'm enjoying it, actually, really enjoying it with all of them, all great people.
Excellent. So what's happening with Team Toxic? Are you going to get back together again, or is that a done thing now?
I think in reality it'll be a case of seeing how all this pans out, but it sort of became apparent, I suppose, that although we were the two faces of Team Toxic, actually with it in-house at Liverpool, Gaz is able to tap into their sales sort of force there. He's involved a bit with the brewing again, which he likes, and so it's working out quite well as it is. How that will pan out when things kick off again and there's lots of deliveries to do and all the rest of it, I don't know. In all honesty, I don't think anyone knows, because no one really knows where this is all going, do they? It'd be nice to see it obviously continue and grow, but we'll just play it by ear, I think, is the answer to that.
It was a very depressing report on the news last night about the rest of the world not getting vaccinated for another 2 years, where it leaves not just pubs but the entire social aspect of business, the restaurants and whatever, where that leaves that, God only knows. I despair. Yeah. Seriously, it's extremely worrying.
I'm optimistic though. The curve's going down, and we were really safe before we closed down. When we went to Lincoln's BeerHeadZ, they set that up really nicely. You didn't feel worried about catching anything. You were totally on your own, individual seats, and it felt like one of the safest places to be, not like going to a supermarket.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, Yeah, that's the slightly frustrating thing, isn't it, about it all. I had to go to a supermarket yesterday. I try and avoid it wherever possible, and I know where you're coming from, that actually all I do the whole time I'm walking around is think, well, this is ridiculous. You know, how less safe is this than going to a very well run, organised bar at the moment? It's
the game of walking around the supermarket, and actually, rather than actually shopping, I play the game of who's not wearing a mask and why. I really need to concentrate more on my shopping.
I know, but yes, I totally know where you're coming from on that one.
So where are you actually brewing at the moment, Sue?
Well, at the moment, I've just recently had Pamplemousse and Snowball come out in cans, and that was done at Tatton. And I think Tatton are quite well known for their more traditional beers over the years. They've been going a few years now, and they make really, really well made traditional beer. Want to branch out a bit more and do something a bit different. But the thing I thought when I had the beers brewed there is I knew they'd be brewed exactly how I wanted them brewed. And they were, you know, they've come out spot on in can. Really, really pleased with them. So yeah, I'm focusing on that really. I'm also been asked by a few people to reinvent these. I did a sort of a Scar range of beers a couple of years or so back now, and a few people have asked that. So I'm contemplating whether to do that there, or whether to maybe put the feelers out again and see if people want to, if anyone else would like to do them, or do them as a collab or something along those lines. So I'm always open to you know, suggestions and doing other things, but currently the main beers are being done at Tatton.
So how does this work? Do you just give them the recipe and say get on with it, or do you actually get stuck in and go and to make sure it's going to be brewed the way you want it to be brewed?
Yeah, I like to be. It depends on the where it is. So some that we've done in the past, it's if you really trust the brewery and you've been there during maybe the first brew process, and you know you can totally trust them, as we did with Carl at Liverpool Brewing, you know, to do the Team Toxic beers. You know when you can trust people to do what you want and to understand what you're after. So then it's easier to leave that to them and do it to your recipe. Or you might go in and just oversee, or sometimes I go in and you know, get stuck in. So it's a bit of a mixture of all of those things, really, you know.
Delegating's best, isn't it? I'm good at delegating.
Oh yeah, it is when you get to my age, definitely.
Just tell people what to do and make them get on with it. It's brilliant.
Definitely, yeah, I'm liking that.
You know, Sue, how did you actually get into this industry? How did you get into brewing? Why? Yeah, talk us through it.
Yeah, it's going back sort of 11 years now, and we had moved to the wilds of mid Wales up a big hill in the middle of nowhere, and with myself and my husband, both big beer, you know, good beer drinkers, and we just found there was just nothing. It's one of those old stories of finding there was absolutely nothing that we wanted to drink round here. Sorry everyone, brains and the rest of you, but there really wasn't. So we thought, rather than sit around moaning about it, we'll just make some and experiment and see, you know, what we can do with that. And it was a few years. I mean, first few years they weren't brilliant. I did a brewing course, did all of that, but it was finding our feet, finding what we could make that we liked, but that we could also sell. And immediately most of the sales went outside of the area, because this is a very traditional beer sort of area. But over the years, sort of, yeah, played around a bit with it, met different people, tried different beers, found out where I really wanted to be, and that's when sort of the likes of Pamplemousse, Snowball, the more sort of known beers now, came from. But yeah, nothing's changed here.
Well, it seems like little microbreweries pop up and they have a very short existence and then disappear again. I can't think of examples at the moment, but they seem to be very, you know, we'll have a go at it, didn't work, you know, move on. It's
an odd, I think it is that sort of more rural atmosphere. Unless you're prepared to really travel and get the beers out of the area, you'll struggle. I mean, there is Wilderness Brewery in Newtown, which is just down the road from me, great guy, doing a bit of mixed firm and all that sort of thing, and doing well, but he's not huge. He keeps it as to a small sort of operation, getting a name for himself, and you know, that's brilliant to see, but it's hard.
Dave?
Sorry, just having a drink there.
I feel left out. I'm on the coffee. I should have really.
Oh, well done, though. I've gone halfway house and cold brew coffee beer, so I thought that was acceptable. I don't drink during the week, generally speaking. I'm like 1 day a week, or maybe at a push 2. But I've been investigating alcohol-free beers. In fact, I need to come to you guys and see what your suggestions are, because I've really been struggling with the alcohol or no alcohol. The
point in alcohol-free beer or caffeine-free coffee, or I don't see meat-free sausages. I just don't see the point, you know. So I couldn't recommend anything to you. I'm sorry.
It's been a real eye-opener to me, because I can find on a Thursday night, for instance, when I might have normally cracked open a couple of beers, if I can just satisfy that, it's a mind thing, you know. But if I feel like I'm having a beer and it's a no alcohol beer that tastes nice, you know, that does me. I just have a couple of those and I'm done. Fine, you know. I was of your mindset previously, but no, I'm swayed now.
I must admit, you know, I'm trying not to drink every day, tell you the truth, and I'll have a little, maybe 2 cans on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and then I'll have a session on Saturday night in front of Netflix. But I must admit, you know, not drinking properly since last March or whatever. 3 or 4 cans and I'm spanning. You know, I'm losing all my alcohol tolerance. I don't know
same.
That's a thing, but you know, you look at it's amazing. Whether that's an old wives' tale, I don't know, but I certainly, mind you, it doesn't help that I think the least gravity I had on a can on Saturday was 7.8, going up to 10. So that doesn't.
That might be a problem.
If you want some low ABV beers as well, I had Big Drop Brewery. They sent me some before, and they had a big range, and a lot of them were really quite nice, actually.
I need to revisit them. I think I've had the dark one's fantastic. Big fan of their dark beers. I do champion them quite a lot to people, you know. But
we had about 4 or 5 different ones in the range, and I'm sure like the ones that were not the normal kind of base range, core range, were better. And I can't remember what they were now. I think it might have had Idaho 7 and Sit Drops in the one I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah. I might be wrong.
What are your thoughts though on the, because I know a lot, I'm faced with people that I've dealt with in the past selling to. So there's there's the ones that have opened and have managed to do off sales and take on the off license, thing. But there's others who have just said to me, well, it's just not worth us doing it, and have completely closed and furloughed staff. What was I could totally understand that, but at the same time I'm thinking there is a very big danger that they're going to sort of get a little bit forgotten by people along the way. I don't know. I mean, I get the financial thing obviously, but it's a difficult one, isn't it?
It's difficult, isn't it? Of course, at the moment we haven't got an option, and there was a ridiculous headline story a couple of days ago in the press and the Morning Advertiser of all places about pubs reopening but not allowed to sell alcohol, which is absolutely ridiculous. So, but going back to your original question, at the moment we haven't got an option, have we? So everybody's closed. Before, when we were allowed to do a takeaway service, for the amount of, especially if you're trying to sell cask, once you open the cask, you've got to sell that within 3, maximum 4 days, and it's difficult, getting that kind of sales going for a takeaway service. And for BeerHeadZ, at least, I know we had to go at it at the Retford branch, and they were okay opening for a couple of hours a day. But it's only a trickle of money, and when you see how much money against that you're making against what you were making, it's just not worth it. Because remember, if you come off furlough, you can't pay the staff, so you have to pay the staff yourself. So you've got to sell enough beer in those 2 hours to pay the staff, and it just doesn't work. It's the sums don't add up.
I think it's more difficult in our areas as well, because we're kind of Lincolnshire and again a bit more rural. We're not in big cosmopolitan cities where it's more the done thing to kind of sell through kegs and in your growlers and whatnot. So like our towns and cities, they're not really well versed in those kind of things yet. They don't really know what they are, and And so really then we might sell a few cans and bottles, and it's like, well, we have to go buy them to then sell it to you direct, when they could just buy it just as easy online, and it's more convenient for them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot against it, really.
And yeah, and I've seen that as a big problem, and it's really been brought to my attention with selling, because, you know, the people I'm dealing with, like Tatton and Mourne Mountains both, they're doing great deals to trade, like yourselves, you know, free delivery and all of those, you know, mixtures of case, all of that is brilliant, which is great because it gets it to people who can do off sales. On the other hand, they've got to survive, they've got to sell as much as they can. They're obviously doing good deals direct. So if you go onto their shop, you can buy direct. So, you know, that's, for me, it's a complete, you know, what's the word? You know, so sort of, I'm trying to make trade for them in one department, but on the other hand, it's almost opposing that by then telling everyone they can buy direct from the shop. So but they're just covering every avenue they can to try and get the beers out.
I think at the moment everybody's adapting, and they're still rewriting the rule book, aren't they? And and the shame, the thing is, you know, I think a lot of little breweries will perfect the techniques and start making money, and then everything will go back to normal. And you'll go, why did we do all that?
Why did we bother? I know.
You know, it's difficult. It's like when we brought all the COVID precautions into the pub, and then the government changed their minds, and we have to do this and we do that, and we adapt, and then the rules are changed again. So you know, and you have to spend money every time, and it's just difficult, you know.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm just glad I don't own a premises, either brewery or shop at the moment, because that's all I ever think, looking at everything happening in front of me, is how very hard so that must be at the moment. It's, very,
exactly.
Very
I mean, talking about financially, I mean, a lot of people are moaning about the government, but money-wise, the support that BeerHeadZ have got, I think, has been pretty fair. You know, it could have been a lot worse. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
But without the government help, we wouldn't have a business at all. We're just about clinging on by the skin of our teeth at the moment, and you know, we are prepared to open as soon as we can.
I have to say, I agree, and we found the same. You know, that we initially furloughed ourselves in the business while we, you know, saw whether it was viable to keep it going, and personal help that has been there since the start. As I have to say, I do genuinely feel for people who are struggling and who haven't had the help. There's definitely an area in the middle there somewhere of people missing out on both sides of the help that's offered from the government, both personal and business, but and awful. But all things considered, we have been very lucky. I feel
it's probably one of these natural calls, you know. They come around from time to time, don't they, and sort the chaff out from the wheat, or the wheat from the chaff, as they say. Or I don't know which way around it is, but it comes around every so often, doesn't it? A natural in and out of getting rid of the weaklings.
I think so, yeah.
I remember famously 3 or 4 years ago, the boss, the editor or whatever it was of the Good Pub Guy, didn't he say that some of the pubs deserved to close, and there was a big furore about it. He might have worded it a little more tactfully, but I understood the point he was making. There was a lot of pubs out there just plodding on as they were for years before, and not making an effort. And to be honest, there were too many pubs in the country.
Absolutely.
So
I mean, we saw it on a really small scale. Our town where we live, traditional though they are, but you know, it's a really small little market town, and there are lots of pubs, none of which are any good. And hopefully they won't be watching this, but they're not. You know, they're not. None of them do it very well. But that's because they don't, you know, they just plod on and don't feel the need to do so. I'd rather have 2 pubs in that town that were good for whatever reason, whatever they do, they were good at it, than have 10 or whatever it is there is, and they're all crap. You know, why would you want that?
I think a lot of it's to do with the manage. Sort of most pubs are managed now, so the people in charge or the managers are getting paid anyway, regardless of whether they perform.
Yeah,
so,
do a job or not. Yeah,
that's the culture we're in now, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, Sue, time's marching on. Thanks ever so much for giving us your time again. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem.
And
Not a problem.
we hope to see you again very soon. Maybe serving us a white stout again. Any chance of that coming back?
Oh, don't know. Have to see.
Okay, well, this is the first of hopefully a few videos interviewing people in the industry, and part of the game is that you've got to nominate the next person. So have you thought of somebody we can interview next?
Purely because I've known them for a long time. They've come and done collabs with us. We've had a lot of fun with them around Cardiff, and they're great guys, and the beers are obviously superb. So it would be Polly's, it would be Sean, but I don't think Sean generally does those sorts of things. He's very shy and retiring. So it's Aaron, I think you want. Aaron, who's the sales guy. So Aaron, it's you next, I think.
Okay, Aaron, I'll be knocking on your door shortly, mate. Okay, Sue, thanks very much for your time.
No
It's
worries.
been lovely talking to you again.
And you guys.
We'll see you as soon as we possibly can.
Definitely, definitely. See you soon.
Thanks again, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers.
We'll see you later.
Yeah, see you soon,
Cheers.
guys.